showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
Ryan Little.
Okay, guys, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. Welcome. It's been a little bit. It's a late one, man. It's a late show because shit happens. This is what it is. But I'm still gonna throw up and do a show for you guys this week. And I'm gonna be prompt next week, man. Life happens, and it is what it is. How's your life has been since we last spoke? Hopefully gracious and glorious, and hopefully all the other bad stuff in between, because they make us better people, as I always say. Yeah. So let's. I really don't have any little banter to say right now. Let's just get into the show, because I got a lot to do here and I got a lot to do outside the show. I wish I could give more. I wish I could give a little bit more to you guys and do the live thing. I don't know if I don't know, man. I'm trying to see what I'm going to do by doing something live and do like a more the video aspect. I'm trying to see how, if I ever want to do that. I think I'm just comfortable just talking to you guys really and providing audio. It's just that you got to just do so much, and you got to set. And I watch a lot of shows online. I see people have great setups, man. They have great setups with using their cameras and everything in the background. I just don't know if I want to do all that. I think I'm just good with speaking to you guys on the back and forth. I do a little throw up a little moving animation for the YouTube part, so I can just add my show to YouTube. But that's what I do. But I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm just close certain windows, get these closed for you guys. I'm sorry, because sometimes there's a lot of noise that happens while and things is dinging and everything like that. But yeah, anyway, all right, let's just get this rocking and rolling, and I'll continue on. Anyway, so what is going on? Like I say, I went to Woodbury Commons with the family. That's one thing I can say I tie in. It was a very pleasant trip. I haven't been there in a couple of years. And I loved it, man. It was great setup. They made a multi-level garage. The architecture was great, man. The stores, there were more stores, a whole lot of stores. And oh man, I went to one sneaker store, crazy. I don't know the name of it. I walked into there. Of course, I wanted to check it out with the fam. And they had all types of Jordans, and mostly Nike Jordans, I should say, and Yeezys. They had the Yeezy section. So I took a look at the prices of some of these. Yeah. Yo, these prices was crazy. I'm a, how should I say it? I don't get crazy, but I'm sure I don't get loud when I'm looking at certain things, when I hear certain prices. But I certainly, almost let out a little, looking at the price of them sneakers. Of course, it was like $400, $500, $300. I'll never understand it. Even when I was young, I would never. Number one, the reason why I didn't buy expensive shoes when I was young, because I was living with my mother. She was a single mother, taking care of everything, with taking care of 3 other kids. And so there wasn't money to go around to buy expensive sneakers. So even if I wanted Jordans, it was not happening. Now, expensive back then, let's say in the 80s, and they probably wasn't even called Jordans back then. As the Jordans weren't the brand they are today. But it was expensive to get. It was considered expensive for sneakers to be $120, $100. That was super expensive. And when you got to take care of 3 kids, ain't no one kid getting no $100 sneakers. So now, even if I wanted like the famous sneakers of the time, it was not happening. Now, fast forward to the present day of 2022, you have, of course, the Jordans. in all its glory. They were being sold for, like, as I said, $300, $400, $500, $600. I was like, word. Yeah, I'm not, this is not where I'm shopping at. I came to Woodbury Commons to get some deals, and I'm not getting no deals right here. And of course, they had the Yeezy section, and you know, the same price for the Yeezys. Who the fuck is buying the Yeezys? I don't understand. My nephew got to pay the Yeezys. I think them sneakers is horrible. They are, horrible. I don't know who's buying these Yeezys. I saw it looked like they were 3D printed, and the design was it's holy, and it just like it came out of a 3D printed bath. And I'm like, who's wearing these? And it's one day I was walking, I don't know where I was walking to. I was in the city somewhere, and I saw one pair. Let's say one pair. Some dude was on a bike and he was wearing them damn Yeezys. I'm like, there you go. That's who's buying those Yeezys. It was one person, all right? You know the pair I'm talking about. They look like something space age, holy, it was terrible. I do not like Yeezys. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Kanye, but I guess, it's on the artsy fartsy thing. Nah, that's not happening. But he's sure making a lot of money off these sneakers that he's doing. But yeah, I looked at those sneakers and I walked right on out. Yeah, and I'm just surprised that people get them. But yeah, apparently people make it. I saw a little clip. Kanye, of course, in his rare performance, throughout some, I guess he's not doing any work with the Gap anymore. Oh wow, look at that, so surprising. He did some interview, and the thing that really caught the end, he was like, I don't argue with people that are broker than me about money. I was like, yo, I gotta give it to him like that. But the face on the person that was interviewing on MSNBC or whatever it was, it went from just like, wow, okay, I'm speaking to Kanye West, I'm sure I'm gonna hear something that I'm going to be amused by. And after he said that, her face turned up, her smile went upside down. Let's keep it real. And she was like, oh my God, let's end this. Yo, man, but he's making money off those Yeezys, man. I'm telling you, I don't know who's buying these joints, man. Because none of the people I know wear them. Except, of course, my nephew. And that was a gift from his brother getting them Yeezys. And I'm like, and he was wearing them things out. I'm like, put those things away. Retire them. So, yeah. But the Woodbury Commons was cool, man. All types of stores there. Very nice, like I said, in the architecture, the layout, how the stores were. And yeah, that's amazing. Definitely going to be going back soon. But it just made me think, I was asking my nephew, what are the people, the young folk, wearing nowadays? Because I remember back in the day, there was, in New York, I mean, of course, it was no shortage of brands. I mean, people wore Guess. Remember Tommy Hilfiger, Jabot. I mean, I love Jabot. Jabot was nice. They had these particular Jabot pants that had the pockets from the front, not on the side. They were on the front. And man, I loved the way the denim. It was like I don't know. It wasn't the typical denim that you would see like in Levi or something like that. But it was like the best way I could say it was glossy. It was a deep, dark blue, glossy denim, kind of glossy. And I don't know, I like the feel of this denim, the way man, Jabot, I think I got 2 pairs of Jabots. Nice. They remember Pele. Pele was cool. You have Fubu, of course, was going back. You had Carl Kanai that's going further back. Cross colors going further back. Of course, remember AAVFX bomber jackets? Man, I always want to be an AAVFX bomber jackets, but it's just one of those situations. You ain't got no bread. Just what it is, right? But I appreciate them. They had an AAVFX store in the city, and my peoples would get AAVFX jackets and check them out. They were nice jackets. I love those AAVFX jackets. You had the it wasn't even bomber jackets. It was just regular. I don't know what you would call them, but they was Avarex. It was nice. PNB, you had PNB Nation. It was Echo. There's Polo, Rockaway, of course. Sean John. I told you, one of my two favorite brands was Sean John and Rockaway, especially Sean John because I like the fact that Puffy got into P or whatever you want to call him. He just didn't do streetwear. He did business wear, and that's what caught my eye. I thought it was he put real work into Sean John. I said that before on the show, but I don't know artists today, man. I don't see them really. I don't see the hustle as what it was back in the day with rap artists today. You know, back in the day, back in the 90s and 2000s, it just felt like. Oh yeah, I can't forget apple bottoms too. Apple bottom jeans. That was a thing. That was a hot thing back in the day. But yeah, I don't see that energy, that business drive in the rappers today, man. The sing-songy rappers. I don't see it. I mean, I don't know what happened from that time period to now, but rappers, I guess they're making a whole lot of money. They don't really need to do much. I'm sure there are brands. Of course, there's going to be those. I'm like, oh, you forgot this artist. They did this advertisement. I'm sure I'm missing out. But I don't know. For me, back in the day, it felt like it was more you knew that you knew a rapper that was gonna get into some side hustle and he was gonna make it this big thing. Like rappers never just wanted to do music, because you had that hustler's mentality. You like, all right, look, what else I could get into? But any of the new even like Kendrick, nah. Let me see, Weezy, nah, he don't do nothing. Any of the new ones like Lil Uzi Vert, the young dudes, Drake. Even Drake is as big of an artist that he is. You would think that he would get into some side things, some like. I don't know him, but you're the only. Oh well, hey, I don't know. Apparently, I'm gonna have to Google that. But Drake, other than of course, Kanye, he got the sneakers and. That Gap thing kind of fell apart and whatever. But, Yeezy is doing stuff outside. Of course, Rihanna, she has her own brand. She does. I love her online shows. Those things are great. What was that? The Fenty. All right, I got this. Appreciate it. Thank you. She got her Fenty thing. I can dig that. I feel that, but really that's like a handful. But everybody else, the new gens, I don't see them really doing anything really big. But yeah, man. I asked my nephew, and my man is so, my man is so out of it as far as what. I was like, yo, so what the kids wearing today? I just want to know because, as I said, all those brands I said before, that's what we was wearing. And of course, did I mention Polo? I think I mentioned Polo. Yeah, that was a big thing back then. All right. I mean, my man said, can you believe my man said Balenciaga? I'm like, young man, ain't no 17-year-old, 18-year-old wearing no Balenciaga. Okay, they talk about all that stuff in them rap songs. But ain't no young teenager wearing no goddamn Balenciaga. I'm really interested. And I went to the Balenciaga site and I saw the sneakers. I saw the t-shirts. I saw that. That's what I want. Men's t-shirts and sneakers and pants. And them joints was, I think base. And from any, whatever, it was $850, I think base. Everything was up, $1,100, $1,200. I mean, even the ones that was like, they had sneakers that looked like Converse, and them joints was, I think, $950 or something like that. $850. I'm like, who is wearing $850? Of course, the celebrities, of course. But yeah, I want to know what them teenagers is wearing. Like, what is the thing? Because I just named so much throughout the years. It's named so much throughout the years, and of course, Gucci was a thing back then. You had Fendi was a thing back then, but you didn't wear Fendi or Gucci. Ain't nobody was wearing Fendi or Gucci when I was young, when I was 17, 18, 19, 20. There were Gucci t-shirts that these people bought. But if you saw someone that was wearing possibly a Gucci belt, even that's stupid because Gucci, again, is a high-end brand. So Gucci belts don't come cheap, man. You imagine if I think back on it when I was young, if someone was trying to stunt off a Gucci belt, I'm like, who did you coerce? And how much money was you saving from your side job? How many weeks for you to buy that Gucci belt? But if anybody was wearing anything high name brand, we all knew, stop playing. Don't get it twisted. You coming up here with that fake ass Gucci. Because back in the day it was Canal Street. I don't know if Canal do it now, but if someone was wearing some high brand t-shirt or something or bag or whatever like that, and it was Coach or like I said, Gucci or something like that, they would go up on Canal Street. Everybody know Canal Street. You could get yourself a fake bag and then rock it over, when you went to school or something like that. But everybody knew, they caught on quick, that ain't no real damn Gucci bag. You got that on Canal Street. And they had some real ones for you, man. And it was just not the young folk, teenager, whoever was buying that. Even the tourists was coming on and be like, wow, this is Gucci. Knowing that shit was fake as hell. Maybe they was trying to convince them otherwise, but we all knew right here, oh, that's some fake shit. It looked pretty real, but that's some fake shit. All right. And if you're gonna write some shit, it might as well be real, right? So yeah, man. I want to know what them kids is wearing nowadays, because I had the last pair that I really was paying attention to, or pair, excuse me, I'm thinking of jeans or say brand, was True Religions. And True Religions, I'm like, when they told me the price of them jeans, I think True Religions go back by 10, I guess 15 years or something like that, when it hit its height. Maybe I'm wrong a little further, but True Religions was like, I think the first brand that I heard of when I looked at their pair of jeans, it was like $300. I was like, fuck out of here. Say what? Oh yeah, was that expensive?
Yeah, those were like $300 too.
Yeah, wasn't buying those, man. Because at that time, when I'm a grown ass man, at that time, I'm like, you ain't swindling me out of nothing. I don't care what you saying. You could lace gold in them denim threads. I ain't buying no $300 pair of sneakers. I mean, jeans. You got to be out of your mind. When you know damn well they be making them jeans over in them third world countries, in Taiwan or China. China's not a real third world country, but you know what I'm talking about. Thailand. And they got them sweatshops, and them people's making them jeans for like what, $2, $5. And they gonna mark those up when they bring it. Nah, hell no. Mark those joints up like 5,000%. Just because it's trendy and it's in some goddamn rap video, you think people gonna buy? You did have the younger folk buying them, but it wasn't me. Okay, I wasn't trying to hear that because I knew the game. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that damn thing. And by the way, that's funny, man. I remember when P. Diddy, it started getting around on the news that Puff was having his clothes made in third world countries, and it made the news. And I was like, really, bro? Really? So you really gonna tell me MSM? When I say MSM, major news media. Did I say that right? Major. So, and what do they call it? It's like abbreviated version. Let me see. Major news. Okay, all right, I got it. Would you like to co-host with me? Would you like to get on this mic?
Yeah.
No. Thank you. Major news media. MNM. All right. So when I say M&M, that means major news media. All right. So yeah, they got with P, right? And it was telling P that, oh my God, it was the news of the moment. It wasn't like crazy big, but it was getting out there circulating that P. Diddy was, making his clothes in third world countries. Oh my God, for shame, for shame. Oh, those were the haters, man. Those were the haters. Because I'm like, I caught on quick. I was like, wait a second. Y'all talking about, Sean John? All the clothes are made in third world countries. They were trying to make that big scandal. I'm like, no. All the clothes that we wear are made in third world countries, all right? And they're all marked up by hundreds of percents, okay? 1,000%. Let's keep it real. So I was like, I'm not listening to them. Really? They was trying to make it like, we're going to go deep down in the sweatshops and wherever these clothes are made. And it was like, really? Get the fuck out of here. Where let's go to Nike and to Adidas and to not even the major name brands, folks. Not even the major name brands. When you go to like VIM or you go to like I don't know, a local chain store and you see all those sneakers in a bin, all right, the throwaways, the joints that you would never wear, of course, you tell your parents, if your parents be like, yeah, I can get you a $30 pair of sneakers, and you be like, huh, where? And they take you to that local chain store, and you see them sneakers thrown in a bin, hell, and you be like, hell no, I wearing them rejects. Hell, you trying to embarrass me in front of my friends, ma? You know what I'm talking about. You know the joints I'm talking about. Yo, those joints is made in sweatshops too, man. Don't get it twisted. When them $30 pair of joints, yo, they get made right next to they got the contract with whatever company, and all these sweatshops, they go into all the major US brands or companies and they say, hey, listen, how do I make my sneakers or clothes real cheap? And we gonna ship them over here, and even those no-name generic ass brand joints, whether it's t-shirts or they made over there too, all right, for $5, even less, all right, and they mark them joints up like $30 or they make $50 on the rack, and you get them. Those are the cheap joints. How you think they get to sell them so cheap? Because they make them cheaply, all right. So yeah, I'm not really just knocking it. It's the whole system, man. It's the whole thing, man. So a lot of people be like, oh, you know, I try not to be like highfalutin or anything like that, because we all take part of it. It's capitalism, you know, whether the t-shirts we buying, the desks we buying, the sneakers, the socks, all those joints are deals made in third world countries. They make them, they ship them over here in these container ship, whatever. They go through the Panama Canal, they hit the ports, and they get distributed on the 18-wheeler big rigs, and they go to Walmart, and they go to Target, and they go to all the major chains throughout America. And these brands, some are no-name brands, and then others are the high-end brands. That's what I just said. And they get sold, and we buy them, and that's how the system continues. That's how we make it happen. Yes, folks, and that's how the machine, the gears of the machine, continues to make money. We as consumers buy, they sell, we buy and they sell, and people get exploited in between that. That's the deal, okay? And we all know it. So yeah, but that's wild, man. That's wild. I'm interested to know what these kids are wearing nowadays. And by the way, and they'll never come back to the United States. So much of the politicians talk about, yeah, made in America, made in America. That's all a lie. Trust me, that is all a lie. Even the golden boy, as far as all the Republicans that listen to this show to see what I'm saying. Because I shout out to all those Republicans. I know who you're following. I know you're following me. I know you're like, what are they saying? What is this guy saying? Maybe you're interested in what I'm saying. Maybe you want to take see it from another perspective. But I know you're listening because I see you on social media. You're following me. So shout out to all those folks that come from different political perspectives. Thank you for listening, because I do the same. I listen to all of them too, and it turns my stomach when I hear certain people. I'm like, really, you don't really believe this? But anyway, I'm not the one that just trolling and getting people to listen out. I talk the real deal, raw and uncut. But yeah, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So, what was I saying? Anyway, it continues. So your man Trump. So Trump at this point, he's got a special master. That was one of his requests. And at the time, the article I read, they're saying there was actual talks between the DOJ and Trump for them to split the cost of the special master bill. And the DOJ is like, huh? Nah, you brought it up. You pay for it. I can't believe that we're still talking about this. I feel like it's almost like an okie doke, because he's actually, oh my God, this gives me a headache. This guy is actually making requests so he can deal with the paperwork that he illegally stole that has to be sent back, right? He's actually trying to make a request. As I said on before, he wants a special master because he has a master to review the paperwork because he has an executive privilege. He doesn't know. He's using attorney-client privilege. He's using all this legal mumbo jumbo, and he's tying things up. And I'm like, do you not see this man is buying himself time? That's how I also see it. Because I'm like, wait a second. This guy plainly made, oh my God. I'm like, really? But I know you got to go through the process. You got to go through the steps because we have a quote unquote legal system, right? So now this guy is going to buy himself time by talking about attorney-client privilege and executive privilege and getting this special master to review the paperwork to see what can actually be submitted, whatever the crap, or what can be taken back. I'm like, we gonna play this game. This guy is gonna play this game right into his grave. Cause that man, I'm like, damn. I understand that people do say, well, you know what? If he may escape human law, but then his God law. I'm like, yeah. Now I want him to get some suffering down here before he move off. He been having other people suffer for his entire business career. This man is 80 something years old. God knows, whatever. Before this dude draws his last breath, he got to see some sort of accountability while he's on this planet. Yo, this dude's got some jail time. I don't know, violent money, getting taken, his possessions, like something. This guy got to get something because this man been doing effery since the very beginning of his life. Up to the point where he buried Ivanka on the goddamn golf. I'm like, nah. And I don't know Ivanka from a hole in the wall, but the very fact that he buried the mother of his children on a golf course, I'm like, nah, dude. This dude gotta see something. This dude gotta see something. Can we see something? Can this dude get convicted and charged and sent to jail? Something. All his people's around him, and I was like, you can't. Oh my God, I get so tired of talking about this guy. Everybody around him is going to jail for some violation. Every single person is going to jail. This dude is not. And then the people that are like the diehard Trump cultists be like, well, he's innocent. I'm like, yo, no, he's not innocent. You can't have your whole team, every single person around you go to jail, and all of a sudden you have this shield of innocence. Like, nah, he was just recently talking about, it's not going to stop him from him running the second term. I forgot what radio show he was talking, and he had the balls to call it a hoax. The whole thing that's happening with when them running up in Mar-a-Lago, he had the balls to call it a hoax. And somebody said this to me when I was walking around. It was actually in his book Art of the Deal, which he had no parts of. They said, I am paraphrasing. There's a phrase. There's some words in Art of the Deal that says, "Lie big." They said, lie big, and stick with it. It was something to that effect. Lie big and stick with it. So I'm like, hey, my man been taking that his entire life. He been lying big, and he's sticking to it. And then you know what they also say: when you keep lying, eventually it turns into the truth. And a lot of people believe this dude Trump. My man been saying that, like he been living with that lie. He been lying in his dreams. And the people that follow that dude, and they believe his lies. Like, they believe him wholeheartedly. Is that Truth Social website, social media site that he did? How is that thing going? Is that really a thing? Like, or is it or it's just for his cult followers only? Because of course, people, when I see these articles, they're talking about, well, of course, these journalists do follow him on Truth Social because they have to get his words, his reactions to anything that's happening. And they actually quote from Truth Social, his social media. How is that thing? I guess it's big. I don't know. Ain't no companies want to advertise on Truth Social. They don't want to put themselves in a predicament, right? Anyway, moving on. We spoke about Biden and the Crime Bill 2.0, about the additional funding for additional police officers in PDs across America, and other programs attached to it. And I mentioned, of course, some presidents from turn to turn always talking about having to be tough on crime, right? But, America has really kind of stayed the same regardless. No matter what president tells you, they're going to be tough on crime and adding more money to these police department budgets across America, and they're becoming more militarized. Things pretty much essentially stay the same. And one thing I forgot to mention, that crime has gone down over the decades in America. And there's like two polls or data sources for this. It's the FBI and it's the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Now, FBI get their information from federal, state, county, and city and other police departments across America. And it's not an exact science because not all PDs report this data to the FBI, but they get a fair amount. So they can get an understanding of what crime is looking at on a national scale. And the other one is the Bureau of Justice Statistics. So they get their data from an annual large survey, just asking people if they've been mugged or any crimes have been given to them. So taking from these two sources, crime has gone down over the decades. Now, this funny thing here, let me see here. They're saying most of the crimes that are reported to police are not solved. I'm looking at this order, at least based on the FBI measure known as the clearance rate. Let's see here. They say the most violent and property crimes in the U.S. are not reported to police, and most of the crimes that are reported are not solved. That's interesting. They're saying the crimes that are most frequent is property crimes. That's wild. So it says here in its annual survey, BJS asked crime victims whether they reported their crime to the police or not. In 2019, only 40.9% of violent crimes and 32.5% of household property crimes were reported to authorities. BGS notes that there are a variety of reasons why crimes might not be reported, including fear of reprisal, getting the offender in trouble, a feeling that police would not or could not do anything to help, or belief that the crime is a personal issue or too trivial to report. So yeah, over time, when you look the data that has been collected over between these two data sources, crime has fallen. Interesting. And you can find this data. It's public information online. Of course, the FBI says they're going to have a better reporting system and to replace the one that they do have, because there's so many things that can shuffle the data around. They may not get a clear picture, but they do the best with what they have. But they're going to actually institute a better system so they can have an accurate picture of what's happening in terms of crime in the United States. But when you look at the data and you take your time to look at it, these two data sources say that crime is just falling overall. So do we need more police? And do we need to increase the budgets of police departments across America? If crime is falling across America, violent crime, that is. Interesting. Of course, and I'm seeing the news right now in New York, and that's where I'm from. Of course, the Washington Post, the New York Post, excuse me, is on a tear. Crime is rising, right? They were saying crime is rising in the West Village. And it's getting to the point, of course, you had the no-face news people out there interviewing people, and people I'm like, yeah, crime is just terrible. It's the quality of life crime. You know, you got the bums, you got people getting robbed, petty theft, things of that nature. So, you know, of course, media plays their hand to make it seem that, you know, New York is spiraling out of control, and one in that particular neighborhood. But, you know, I walk through the city, and I'm going to be walking through the city even more. And you have your ear to the streets. You know what's happening. You know, you talk to people. You know, hey, how's it going in your neighborhood? How's it going in your neighborhood? Yeah, there are things that do happen in neighborhoods, right? They do happen. Like I told you about that Bronx jewelry robbery that happens. But it all centers around what? Poverty. People don't want to do crimes. People are not genetically predisposed to crime. They do it because they feel that they have no choice, or it could be peer pressure from, you know, the youth, 17, 18, 19, getting to shit. But, you know, once you solve that problem of getting people into other things, guess what? Crime drops. And when you go to a well-established neighborhood, middle class, upper middle class, you have cops that are bored. I'm not going to mention it again. You know the deal. So you don't need more cops. What you need is you have to solve the problems of why people are committing crimes. And once you get to that root cause, you know how to solve them. But you know, of course, major news media and M&M, they're not, they're just trying to get clicks. They're trying to get people watching their station. They're trying to get people emotionally wrapped up in the news that they're saying, because that increases more eyes to what's happening on television, or the ears and what's happening on radio. But that's not the case. So that's interesting. I encourage people to read that stuff. It's easy stuff, man. That's why I get so upset when I hear people talking nonsense, because information, you can gather information quite easily online. There's a lot of bullshit online. Trust me, I understand. There's a lot of bullshit online. But when you take your time to really figure out and not get emotional over what's happening, because as I said before, in the news, it's not about really offering information. Sometimes they do, sometimes. But overall, it's entertainment. It's all entertainment. But if you really want to slow down and see what's happening in your neighborhood, you can find the right information from reputable sources online. So that's the deal. Do we need more cops? No, we don't need more cops. We just need to solve the problems of what's happening in America. And it's funny. It is other thing that I saw or heard of. I think it was, I forgot who I was listening to. Oh yeah, I found something it was on YouTube. They were talking about the top 10 poorest states. And you know, of course, Mississippi was on that list. And I'm like, I find it, and they were giving all the reasons why all these cities are so poor. They've been so poor for the last decade or so. And I'm like, yo, I don't understand why these cities are having such problems. I think it was Mississippi. Mississippi had, they said 10 out of the 12 governors. Oh, it was a crazy number that it blew my mind. They said went to jail for crimes while in the governorship. I think it was Mississippi. I'm like, what? For real? It's like, yo, Mississippi got history like that? What are these governors doing? Like, what's going on? And it upsets me because here it is. We live in the richest nation in the world. I think the GDP of America is America's worth about $19 trillion. Let's see here. Let's see if we can find it. America price tag. What is America worth? America, let's say GDP, gross domestic product. 24.39 right here. First quarter 2022 gross domestic product, annual rate of 1.6% in the first quarter 2022, according to the third estimate released by the Bureau of Economic Analysis. In the fourth quarter of 2021, real GDP increased by 6.9. I think they're saying, and this is like a quick spin here. They say, here it is, roughly 20. So anywhere between 20 and $23 trillion, the GDP is what America brings in, right? And here we go. We have whole cities that are failing and deteriorating and falling apart because the money is not being allocated to these southern cities. And I told you about Mitch McConnell being the senator of Kentucky, and Kentucky was on that list of one of the worst cities. And he's been a senator since the 80s, and nothing has demonstrably changed with the economic condition of Kentucky. And these people keep voting them in. So, you know, it's just sad to see that America can be the richest nation and richest country in the world, but you have cities that are falling apart, and these politicians say, I don't know what to do. We're dealing with the problem, and oh my God, like, really, man, really, madness. What's happening, man? Madness. And I understand, like, where are you getting these governors? The governors are getting arrested. Let me see if I could take a quick search, folks, of how many governors arrested in Mississippi. 10 governors. I was right. I told you. 10 governors have been arrested. No, my bad. Let me get this accurate. Arrested. Let me see. How many Mississippi? What were the governors and pardons? I will see them. List. Let me see if I can find the list. List of governors arrested. I can't find it. I'm trying to do a quick search. How many governors impeached, convicted? Let's say that, and I'll leave it at that. But that's what I saw. Mississippi. On that YouTube piece that I saw, I'm like, what? So they're saying out of the 815. Okay, I'll come back with it later. But there was like a big number of governors that were arrested. Maybe I'm wrong, but anyway, it goes back to my point, as I said, with Mississippi, man. Mississippi is a poor state, man, along with the others. And for America to be this wealthy, it is a shame that that's the case. That's a fact. That is a fact. And a lot of these cities are having the same problem. Anyway, I'll get back to that cities in a minute. So, unfortunately, we have a rapper that died, PNB Rock. I don't know much of his music, but PNB Rock, he was shot. Guess how he died? And everybody knows this story by now. He was shot while at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in South LA. His girlfriend posted a photo on IG, and I don't know if it's accidental or this, that's the feature on IG where they tagged the location where they took the picture at the moment in time. That got posted, and in no time flat, some dudes ran up in Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles and was trying to stick up PNB Rock, and he got shot in the process. Died. Another rapper dead. And this guy is not a no-name rapper. He's more famous, and it's sad. It's sad. And folks, I'm going to tell you two things. Stop posting on social media where you're at. Please stop posting pictures. Y'all are really not taking, especially if you're a celebrity, if you a hood celebrity, if you want to come up, whoever. I'm not talking about the famous ones because they got protection and all that. But y'all rappers, I'm telling y'all, stop posting pictures of wherever y'all at. Be aware of the how you're taking the picture. If you're putting cross streets behind you with the street signs or the name of the place in the background, stop taking pictures where you at. It's getting serious now. You can't even. I think Tony Yayo was on. I saw a little article where Tony Yayo was talking about. I think he was talking to DJ Vlad, where he's saying throwing his 2 cents, and this is what's happening, and rappers got to get strapped when they go to LA or any other place. But in general, it's becoming too common now, man, where these dudes are living out their life, living their best life, doing what they do, and you're gonna have people that's gonna be, you're gonna have stick-up kids, you're gonna have people that is gonna be low-level thinking people, and they're gonna see that, and they're gonna try to take advantage. Man, it's crazy. You got the scavengers that's gonna be out there, and you taking pictures, just totally harmless. It happened to Pop Smoke. It happened to what's this rapper from Texas, Mo3, I think. Shout out to brother. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And it happened to the rapper. What's that rapper name? They ran up on him. I forgot his name. Man, I forgot this dude's name. He had the dreads, young dude. He was just starting out in his career. History. I forgot the dude's name. I hate when I bring things up and I don't remember the name of this rapper. And I can't think of it, and I can't leave it alone because it's stuck in my head. Wow, they got PNB Rock on Wiki. I just looked up a rapper's Mo3. That's who I was talking about, Mo3, and that's one of them. But the other dude that Pop Smoke, Nipsey, XXX Tentacion, however you say his name. That was a shooting too. Like all these raps, and I'm looking at this list. It's sad, man. It's sad. You come out the hood, you making your money. You know the planet's in line, and you become a celebrity. You know, you become a rapper, and you making this dough, and you going around America, and you know there's a lot of haters watching you. Especially if you come out the hood. You was a drug dealer, you was doing some illegal shit, you got some enemies, and all of a sudden you putting this music up. It was a hobby, it was a side hustle, and all of a sudden it pops off, and then your face is everywhere. There's a lot of haters, man. So I'm telling rappers, stop, or just celebrities in general, man, stop posting your pictures of wherever you at in the moment. Take off the location, the tag location, so they don't know where you specifically. Be aware of how you're taking the pictures, and lastly, have your security detail, man. You're not your boys. You know, have your security detail. Just be aware. You could be relaxed, but still at the same time be aware of what's going on around you. You know, and I feel sorry for the girlfriend that took the picture. I'm sure she probably blames herself for doing it. But we got to start taking this more serious. And I said this a long time ago. That, you know, not just in terms of rappers, but, you know, there should be security companies. That may be a dope side hustle to do, or something for rappers to get into. Create security company, and have these security companies provide a service for all these rappers that's out there, because, you know, unfortunately this doesn't happen in every other genre of music artist, but it happens with hip hop, because you come from the streets. You come from a history of violence before you kind of broke through, and you know, it doesn't go away once you become famous. You know what I mean? So it's sad, man. Just looking at this whole list, man, it's crazy. Anyway, yeah, man. So condolences to PNB Rock's family and all close friends that lost this young brother, and he was about 30 years old. It's really sad, man. But people got to start taking this music more serious, man. It's not a cakewalk. It's not a party everywhere you go, man. You got people that's eyeing you everywhere, trying to take advantage, trying to take your chain, trying to take your money, you know, and then they don't even give a goddamn if they take your life in the process. You know what I mean? So everybody knows that the D23, I'm really interested. Everybody's the D23 that happened, of course, Disney event showing all the latest. So, you know, Indiana Jones, Secret Invasions, The Thunderbolts, Captain America 4 with Anthony Mackie, of course, playing Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie. Avatar is going to be a big deal. Of course, Zoe Saldana and Sam Worthington's coming back, and the main characters. Willow, man, it was an old school movie, Willow. I was genuinely surprised when Willow is coming back for movie streaming. So, you know, we got The Little Mermaid that's coming, of course, as I said before. Did I say it? I don't know. And who's playing Little Mermaid? I forgot. Hey, you could say, you could talk now. Who's playing Little Mermaid again? Who? Okay, I didn't even hear you. Haley, you're right. There you go, Haley. So she playing the Little Mermaid. Of course, you're gonna have the haters. It's talking about, oh my God, there's a black woman playing Little Mermaid. It's really not. I really don't care. I'm like, it's not a big deal. But I knew, you know, let me tell you something. So I'm like, I watch like Disney and all that. I watch the, you know, of course, all the Marvel shows, and I see a pattern every time a show comes out, whether it's She-Hulk or Black Widow, every time. And the only one I can't say that was women-led as a major star was Star Wars, The Return of the Jedi, whatever you want to call that, The Rise of Skywalker, whatever. The last three that was done by Rian Johnson. Yeah, I thoroughly shit on that movie every time because, of course, and you know, he's a brilliant director, but his ego went straight into this one and he destroyed that. And you had what's the name, Skywalker or whatever her name is, Rey or whatever. That was trash. That was absolute trash. So, but it's, I just see a pattern every time there's a movie that's led by a female star. Everybody has something to say. You have a certain sector or certain section on YouTube, on social media, that they're all of a sudden they are superior movie critics and want to tear the movie apart one bar or one line at a time, one scene at a time. And I'm like, come on, guys. All right, the one thing, of course, She-Hulk is not, it's not award-winning material, but I get it. It's a comic book movie. It's She-Hulk. Even back then when releasing comics, it didn't have a long run either, but I can appreciate the canon, the Marvel canon that it is, right? And part of comics. I'm amused by it. I like watching it. I don't have a problem. Is the CGI a little janky in some scenes? Yeah, sure. But it's Disney Plus, man. All right, they're doing the best job that they can. If it was a big movie release, of course, they're going to have millions of dollars and multiple studios that are going to make sure that you're going to have prime CGI. But that's not what Disney Plus is about. Some of them is going to have a bigger budget than others. But of course, you're not going to have the best CGI for She-Hulk. All right. Some of them, they try to do the best they can. Even at Netflix, some movies are not they don't have big budgets. So give me a break. Like, people are complaining of She-Hulk CGI. I don't give a damn. There's certain episodes where the CGI is beautiful, not the best still, but great for it being a Disney Plus show. But then there are other scenes that I'm like, all right. But you gotta have imagination. So people are having problems with the Little Mermaid with Haley, whatever. And they were saying, there was one actually video that came out where this white woman was talking about, oh my God, people have problems with the Little Mermaid. God forbid if, and she lamed off, she took her time to put that together, because I'm like, damn, she had 20 examples of Hollywood using white actors in the place, not for fictional stories. No, real stories of people that they're based on real life situations where they had the entire balls to use a whole white actor to take the place of a person of color or a black person, that historical figure that existed in the past. And that movie got made. I mean, there was pre-production, there was principal photography, and there was post and release date and marketing, and no one was like, maybe this is not a good idea. Yo, all right, so that woman, bang up job to that white woman it's on Twitter, and I'm like, yeah, see what I'm saying? You gonna talk about Little Mermaid? And also to see the video of these little black children, man, the little girls, oh my God, it crushes the heart. It's like, it's beautiful, man, when you see these little black girls watching the Mermaid trailer and they're like, oh my God, shit, come on, man, you're gonna I mean, really, you're gonna really destroy an 8-year-old or 6-year-old's dreams or their excitement seeing the Little Mermaid being like Halle Bailey? Really? Come on, man. Just enjoy the goddamn fictional story. Come on. And let me say, well, you wouldn't like if they twist it. Look, I tell you this, I keep it real. I wouldn't mind, I was talking to my wife, I wouldn't mind if I saw, everybody know Blade, all right, the Daywalker, if they made Blade an Asian dude at some point. I would love to see a spin on that. They've actually done, what are you saying, Marvel X-Men in the anime, and it's different. I love seeing that. That was dope. I'm like, okay, cool. They did a Wolverine anime. I wasn't too crazy about it, but I was like, okay, cool. That's something different to watch, right? So if they did a live action Blade and it was an Asian dude, I'm like, okay, but slow down now. Wait a second. Wait till they squeeze all the water out of this Blade character first. Let's get a couple in the bag, and then you could race bend them. Don't race bend them now. Let's get like a good Mahershala. I always butcher my man's name because his name is real. Mahershala Ali. Like, he's gonna be the next Blade, of course. Let's get a good 4 movies out of this brother. Let's get a couple of brothers that come doing Blade in a lot of different ways. I mean, we had 10 different Supermans, all right, and now they gonna do Michael B. Jordan, which I don't really care too much about it. Whatever. I don't really see the big deal. I'm kind of both ways. They had a big thing on as far as the Ring of Power, and they were talking about, oh my God, they're race bending, they're just being so extra woke. I really don't care. I get it in one way, but then I don't. Can you race bend fictional characters? Sure you can, because we live in a multicultural community. There are a lot of different people that you want to represent on the screen that would love to see themselves on the screen. So yeah, if you can have orcs and glowing blades and wizards, you can have multiple different people in a fictional story. LGBTQ, it could be gay characters. If you can imagine the multiverse, you can do this, right? But then on the flip side, this is my other thought, there are certain legacy characters that I would never want to see race banned. Don't blackify Batman. I don't want to see Tyrone Bruce Wayne. All right, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a black Bruce Wayne. I'm sorry. I like to keep him white as a driven snow. All right. I just don't see it. I can't imagine it because I guess I've been seeing it. So I like certain characters, keep them white. But you know, some characters can be race banned, like from Marvel, my man. All right, there you go, Fury, right? Nick Fury. Nick Fury is not a main character like Spider-Man in the comics. He's always a white dude played by a white guy. So Hollywood is like, you know what? Let's race band him. Let's make him black. Okay, cool, because he's just not like a major character. But I really don't care if you make Superman black. I mean, keep Superman white. I don't really give a damn. But there's so many other stories, other superheroes that are originally black that you can play on. Like Blue Marvel, you have Icon. I mean, and you can have all these characters be put up on a big screen if you want to show diversity. Just play on those characters, right? Not everything has to be race bended, especially when it comes to legacy characters. But at the same time, I guess if you want to do it to give a flip, I guess so. So I'm like in the middle of the line. You're right. I'm in the middle of the line. But, you know, there are more stories to tell other than Superman. Hey, let's and the other iconic characters. So, you know, yeah, let's give some other room to some other superheroes that we don't know. I mean, people didn't think that Iron Man was going to be as big as it was, because it was like, all right, Iron Man is not Spider-Man, he's not Superman, he's not a Hulk, he's not one of these major characters. So the studio said they were taking a risk by putting out an Iron Man movie. But look at it now. Iron Man is like, now you can't see him as, yeah, he's the man. He's the one that kind of like, he was the cornerstone to the whole MCU. Now we can't imagine not having Iron Man, right? Tony Stark. So, I mean, there's certain things that, you know, you can do, and it changes the value of these characters when you put them up on a big screen. So, I mean, if you could give Iron Man a chance, there's a lot of other, and even Guardians of the Galaxy, that wasn't a big thing, storyline back then. Now look at it. It got thrown up on a big screen, and now everybody loves Guardians of the Galaxy, including myself. So, like I said, I'm in the middle of the line. Let's see what happens. Sure, you could do certain characters, race band certain characters, but, you know, there are a lot of other characters that have been made that didn't probably get a chance, enough room to breathe. They got introduced in the comics, and then these writers and said at the time, "Oh, we don't know what to do with these characters," and they left them be. But you could blow the dust off of them, and they can get a new life. You know what I mean? And based on the success of that movie, they may really do well in the comics. You know what I mean? So yeah. The other thing, unsustainable economic system. It is unsustainable. What am I talking about? Well, listen, this is the deal. So, you know, I'm looking online, you know, living out my life as a capitalist that I am, consumer, and looking at houses and looking at, you know, clothes, as I said before earlier in the show. And I'm looking at these price tags, and my young years on this planet, you know, I've seen a lot, and I've seen some things happen, and I just feel that, you know, there are certain things that are showing signs that our economic system is unsustainable. And that comes down to the housing market. We always complain about that. Of course, we're talking about inflation. The interest rates are going up, and it's falling back on the consumer. But, you know, and I look at it as in terms of, you know, you're looking at the job market, and you're seeing a lot of these tech companies, you know, these people are making like 175,000, 250,000. I remember back in the day, the 80s, if you made 80,000, 100, that was good money. That was really good money. You were middle class life. You were doing your thing. Now we fast forward again to present day. A lot of these new jobs, newfangled jobs, 175,000, 250,000, 300,000. You know, it just makes me think that we are heading down a path in this economic system where it's becoming over bloated. And you may feel like, yo, 250,000, that's a lot of money. But there are some people making six figures in around this neighborhood of the prices that I told you, and they're still poor. So they move to these neighborhoods over there in California, and even these folks are having problems with maintaining themselves. And they're making $150,000, $200,000 a year, and they can't seem to make ends meet. So to me, that's a sign that there's something that's horribly wrong with the economic system that we use today, the capitalism, the social structure that we use in order to live out our lives currently as it stands. And I'll just say, yo, what's the trend? So in the next 10, 20 years, people are going to have to make $500,000 in order to live a good life? Is that what's happening? If you're making $250,000 now and people are having the problems, certain people are having problems on living a good life or living check to check. Because I've seen an article where the housing market in California is so crazy in the tech sector that, you know, people have been moving to Texas. So if you're making, you're struggling with $250,000, that's good freaking money. If you're struggling as a person making $175 and your rent is like $5,000, that's a problem. Because of course you would say, well, people need to make more money. Well, we did that because we're living in an age where it's $250,000. These folks are demanding entering these tech jobs. So what is it going to be in 10, 15 years? $500,000? And then the numbers are running away from itself. And I think those are indications of hyper-capitalism, where you have a price tag, everything is commodified. Everything, of course, you would say, well, you know, the rent's like this because I had to get this loan, the interest rates are higher. As a homeowner, or I'm a property owner, I've got to charge a certain amount. But it's getting out of hand. It is getting out of hand. And where do we go from here if we know that we have an economic system that is over bloated? And I think a radical thing that I say right now, and I say with my own opinion and my own thought, because that's what this show is about, I share my thoughts on what's happening around the world and right here in these United States of America. I think the economic system needs to be reset. Of course, a lot of people are not going to be going for that. Rich people are not going for it. They're like, what do you mean reset? I'm going to lose all my money? But we need to do something, because we cannot continue on this path on where the dollar is going. It is running hot. It is running unsustainable. That's why the Fed is increasing the interest rates, where they need to cool down the market. It is running too hot. And these people from one generation to the next are asking for more money, and it still can't work. And you have the gentrifiers that are moving out of the gentrified neighborhoods and moving into other neighborhoods. People are literally chasing them, the market all around, almost like a dog chasing his tail. They are literally chasing around into different areas of America, trying to find a way to live with the money that they're making. People are bouncing out of New York, going down south. People down south moving to Midwest. People in the Midwest going to the upper West Coast. And it's happening to all the major cities, where you have a whole crowds of people leaving for, areas with cheaper rent and cheaper mortgages. So I don't know, man. I just don't see how, you can have the economic health of a country only fit for a small percentage, 10%, 5%, 15%. The majority of people are hardworking, working class, blue collar folks that are trying to raise families and raise their kids and not have to be going broke to do it. And there's another thing that comes to mind. Not just the situation with our economic system with the working class, but also, man, my mind is in other places, folks. My mind is other places. I don't even know my thoughts. I'm trying to get my thoughts out. Probably I'm not into it. I'm doing this like I just woke up and everything like that, and having to record. I'm doing it myself, and running myself. I'm burning the candle on both hands and trying to do everything. And my brain is a little foggy, so sorry, folks. But yeah, the point is, the economic system is not where it should be. And the direction where it's going is taking people off a cliff, and people do not know how to make it work if so many things is super expensive. So many things is super expensive, and it's happening in all these major cities, and it's sad, and it's going to get to the point where, you know, I mean, there was an article on that they had, they were talking about how, oh my God, I can't get my thoughts out right here. Anyway, that's the point, and I'm going to end it soon. Let's move on. Let me see. So last thing I'm going to say, this abortion ban thing going, it's not working out for Republicans. I tell you, boy, not working out for Republicans, because you have a whole bunch of Republicans across America is now pulling back their 100% pro-life stance, and they're kind of like changing up their words on their websites because they're running for various offices across America. And yeah, it's not working out for them. Like, even I got it. Republican Senator Tom Barrett running for House seat in Michigan. He changed up his words. Blake Masters, GOP nominee for U.S. Senate in Arizona, he's changing up his words. Mark Ronchetti, GOP candidate for governor of New Mexico, he is changing his words. Barbara Kirkmeyer, Republican candidate for U.S. House seat in Colorado, she is changing her words. So now they're understanding that hard line that they're pushing so long since Roe versus Wade got turned over. And all of these stories are coming out where it's literally the horror stories that from rape to babies dying in the woman's womb. I heard one story they was saying from my wife talking about this woman had the heartbeat was little, it was like practically not there. And no doctor wanted to abort the child. The child was pretty much dead, right? But it had a really faint heartbeat. And this woman had to go on a search for 2 weeks before she can have the procedure done. And her life was threatened with, I think it was, what's that thing called? Septic, what?
Yeah, so you're mixing up the stories. So the story is she had an infection in her uterus, but she went to the hospital, the emergency room, and they couldn't do anything because they still had a heartbeat.
Okay, so I mix up some of these stories I'm hearing from my wife right now. But there was a situation where a woman was sick, and they didn't want to perform the surgery, and it was a massive issue. All right, and there was another one where a woman's fetus that had a weak heartbeat, but everybody knew that this child wasn't going to survive, and she had to go on a search for 2 weeks. So I'm sorry for mixing up the story, but the point is, what I'm trying to say is there are real life situations that are taking place that people are being negatively affected by this Roe versus Wade thing. And these Republicans, I don't even call them Republicans right now. They're a whole new beast. These people that call themselves Republicans are going on a tear talking about they want this abortion ban. Even Lindsey Graham was talking about that they want to post some sort of national ban if they get the House and the Senate, all these things. But clearly, not just for Democrats, this is not a party issue. It's a human being issue. There are people that in both parties across America, and the working class in cities and counties that do not agree with what is happening with this abortion ban, and they are being vocal about it, and they're doing these surveys and these polls and all these things, and all of these politicians who are Republicans that were 100% pro-lifers, that were going all in since Roe versus Wade being overturned, and they were using that as one of their main talking points so they could be elected. But it turns out that it is not happening that way, and a lot of these Republicans are basically backpedaling. They are turning away from that hardline stance on the abortion ban because they want to get elected, because even Republicans get pregnant. All right. And it's not working out. So really, in November is around the corner with the midterm elections. And it's going to be interesting how this is going to turn out. Because before I said this before, I thought Democrats were going to get smashed in the midterms. But the Republicans, these nutballs that are in Supreme Court, they probably handed something, they gifted this to the Democrats, and it may not be as much of a sweep as people may think. And and these Republicans know this is happening, and the midterms are coming, and a lot of people are not getting elected. And the various people that are Republicans and be like, I'm voting Democrat. Certain people are switching parties. Independents are voting for Democrats just because of the fact that these Republicans, that these people called Republicans, these current ones, are being so hardline on abortion. Let me tell you something. That's what I forgot. That's what I was going to say. Now, they're saying all these first world countries are having birthing issues. And they're placing the blame on abortion. All these politicians and say, it's abortion. It's abortion. These women are having too many abortions. This is what's the cause of the birthing rate going down, or whatever they're calling it. Or the birthing rate going down and saying, this is not helping us, abortion. And not one of them are being honest on why the birth rate is slowing in any one of these first world countries. And I'll say it as plain as day, thinking about it. It's capitalism. And you're like, oh my God, we got a socialist. I'm not a socialist. Trust me, I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist telling everyone capitalism, or more specifically, hyper-capitalism, is what's affecting the birth rate. Why do I say that? Because children, there's a certain cost to raising children. You have medical care, you have the kids grow up, you gotta have clothes, you gotta buy food for them. When they get of age, when they starting third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, you have to pay these extracurricular activities, daycare. Oh my God, in New York is out of this world daycare, right? Daycare has a budget. They're getting older. They got to eat. You got to do baseball and there's soccer and all these things. Now, that's just to raise children. Okay. Now, let's just talk about the things in order to make sure you have a place for children. That's the conditions to have children. That's residence. As I said before, talking about the prices, the mortgages, and rents getting out of control. You got to make sure you buy food for everyone, I guess you could say, and then shelter, and clothes. You got to buy clothes. And I said, you can buy cheap clothes, but usually people don't buy cheap clothes. People buy clothes that they want to buy, and then all of a sudden you're spending like $1,000 on one kid's clothes. Working class people, right? So all of these things, when you add up, is an expense. Because we're living in a state of hyper capitalism, and there's a dollar tag to every single thing. People are literally making a choice. Okay, I can have kids and it's expensive, or I can have less. I want to have kids, but I have less. So back in the day, or in certain other countries where you could have 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever kids, now you're literally saying, I'll just have 2. That's your limit. Or I have 1. Or people, or you have this new thought process in the modern world, modern men and women. Some people are not having kids at all, because they want to live their life, right? And then what happens to the birth rate? The birth rate shrinks. People are not having kids because, like I said, with the economic system, it's unsustainable. So people are making some hard choices. They're like, hey man, I can't have kids because kids are expensive. And what do humans need to do in order to survive? Procreate. Okay, they need to procreate for the human species to survive. But if there are conditions put together, if a system put together that makes them double, triple, quadruple think about having families, which is a natural occurrence to the human species to have families, to see the generations continue. when you double thinking it, triple thinking it, quadruple thinking it, and you're deciding to have less children, all of a sudden the birth rate slows, and overall the nation is affected by this decision by many, the millions of people out here. I wonder why the birth rate is going down. But yet these politicians want to focus on abortion. Interesting. Because to me, if you truly get to the root cause of why the birth rate is going down, if you truly start to ask the questions why our economic system is in this position, you have to offer real life solutions. And that means those solutions might be, all right, we got to reset certain things. And that means people not making as much money as they used to, or putting programs together in order to encourage people to have children, which means spending money. And within a capitalist system, you don't want to spend money, you want to make money. And that's why we have the situation with many cities across America falling apart, whether it's because of public reasons or private. You have these systems that are rotting from the inside, and it's also affecting us as human beings on a personal level, on the personal choices that we make on what we want our lives to be in the next 10, 20, 30 years, what we want our communities to be, right down to having children. Something to think about. Something to think about. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I've bothered you guys long enough, and I've paused people's lives in here long enough. I got to continue with mine. So I will be prompt with the next show next week, and I'll have more words, and I'll try not to be so foggy. I'm so tired, man. You don't understand. Really tired. Keep it real, I fell asleep on the couch. I was going to record at a certain time. I just wanted to rest my eyes, and I laid on the couch and I passed out. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. And I was like, oh shit, what time is it? And that's not right. I'm right here talking to you guys with my head in the fog, and I'm falling over my words. So my bad. That's life. I like to share that with you because it's not all, roses and everything like that. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I'll be fresh and bright the next show. And thanks for tuning in. All right, I'll see you next week. Peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. For the global community,
We worldwide, baby.
see you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.